Bet on Bears fans, Chicago Bears podcast still going strong, and we got plenty of news to break down today. Chicago Bears hire their OC. Want to get Lance's thoughts on that. DC interviews are now beginning, and an interesting name, and I think a great name to start off with. We got to talk about who the Bears interviewed. Lance knows this guy personally, so definitely got to talk about that. And football from the weekend. A lot of good football. There was some bad football. There's a lot of good football happening this weekend. Want to get all Lance's thoughts on that. As always, joined by a Monday with Lance Briggs. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave that 5-star review. Lance, you before the pod started, man, you were rubbing it in a little bit, bro. That you know we out here in the cold, and you got that nice bright yellow thing that we haven't seen in a few weeks out here, man.
No, it's listen, it's been raining past few days here in Arizona, but we've had a few breaks. We saw the sun a little bit. You can see it's bright outside.
Yeah.
It's not that great. You know what I mean? Listen, I can appreciate the warmth and the cold and all that Bears gear you have on right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Listen, I do a lot of these podcasts still from the basement area till we get that final studio built up, the ESPN brand stamped. I'm just putting a little pressure on. But no, till we get that final studio, right? So listen, it's still a basement.
Yeah. Do you still have you still got your hair slicked back? I saw you.
No, I did not. It didn't stay. I should have done a video of it. If y'all didn't see it, it's on my Twitter. I just slicked it straight back. I was gonna go Pat Riley. I was gonna do a whole show just like Matt that. Eberflus. Hey, and as I was waiting for the show to start, it just started going bink, 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 bink. So it did not stay. I do have the curly hair up under here. It did not slick back, but hey, I got what I got. I'm doing well out here. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing bad. I got good roots, shall I say. Let's start it off here, though, Lance. I appreciate you coming through as always. I almost had a stroke there. Y'all saw that?
Don't do that.
Chicago Bears have finalized their hire with the OC. They're going with Shane Waldron. When you heard the news this morning, what were your first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts were, they didn't go with Cliff Kingsbury, which probably meant a move away from Justin. They didn't go with Greg Roman, which probably meant keep Justin.
Yeah.
They went with Shane Waldron, which probably means undecided. So I like the hire. I like what he was doing with Geno Smith.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks, and in the direction that the Bears are going in. Look, at this point, if there was one thing that needed to be one player, position, or coach that needed to be relieved based off of performance, it would have to be Luke Getsy.
Yeah.
And when you talk about trimming the fat, and we get it right into off season, that was the most likely first change that the Bears were going to make. And so bringing in Shane Waldron, a young guy that can thrive, in this league. Let's see what he can do. I'm excited to see what he can do. Ryan Poles and the Bear staff believe that this is the guy. Well, we're let's continue to trust the process.
I like the fact that we're going with a guy who has experience, who we've seen it happen before, right? Like a lot of times we do go with the younger guy, the up and coming guy, the guy that we hope can take over. This is more of a proven commodity with different styles of quarterbacks. And the one thing that we heard Matt Eberflus continue to say was Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles, all of these guys, right? It's not like it was one guy saying this, is the biggest failure that we saw was an inability to adjust the scheme to the players that you had there. Shane Waldron's worked with Russell Wilson. He's worked with Geno Smith. You at least know coming in that he's going to have that adaptability and that ability to go out there and, okay, if we're keeping Justin, we're going to adapt it to his game. If we go Caleb, we adapt it to his game. If we go Drake May, we adapt it to his game.
Yeah, whomever. And that's if you're a good offensive coordinator, you should be chomping at the bit, with who you have and what you're able to do. If you have a pocket guy, okay, this is what I want to do with them. This is what we can do with pocket guys. This is textbook stuff.
Right.
If I have an athlete, oh man, this is some awesome stuff that we can do. Let's get in the board, let's get in the room, and let's draw some stuff up that we can do uniquely with this quarterback. And I'm hoping that Shane is one of those guys. Maybe that's what they see. But be versatile in what you can do with your playbook. Don't be limited. The limited guys are the guys that end up getting fired, in this system.
What does it say to you as somebody who's been in these lines and has seen coaches be removed, has seen coaches, come in and change things out? What does it say to you that they removed the entire offensive staff outside of, the tight ends coach and the offensive line coach? They fired everybody else. What does that say to you that they felt about the development of this team? Of course, we all focus on Justin, but there's a lot of players on this team offensively we need to look at for development.
Well, the running backs coach, he fired himself.
Well, that's different.
earlier in the year.
That's a little bit different.
But it just says that it was time for a change, and we can see some of our shortcomings, and some of our shortcomings are from what we're putting out to our players. What we're asking our players to do. That's what some of that says. It also says, somebody's guy has to take the blame for the lack of productivity from our offense over this past couple of years. So something had to give, and that was those offensive coaches. And we're going to bring somebody in and hopefully can come in and patch this thing up or fix it before it gets too bad.
Yeah, I really want to see. I heard Mike Tomlin, I think he was on the Pivot podcast, and he was talking about, I'm tired of hearing coaches trying to find excuses to get away from coaching. Basically saying, right, oh, this guy can't do this. He can't make these plays. He's like, well, can you teach him? That's what coaching is, right? I can teach a guy footwork. I can teach a guy how he's supposed to be in his back pedal. I can teach a guy, you know what I mean? That's where coaching comes in. And it does feel like we saw some of that with the previous staff that's here. And I think the part that excites a lot of Bears fans is nobody saw what ended up happening with Geno Smith the last 2 years coming. When you had Geno Smith under center coming into the season, everybody's like, well, the Seahawks are going to be bad. They'll have good draft capital. And they ended up being a playoff team and a borderline playoff team 2 years in a row.
Yeah. I think the thing that stuck out the most is, going into halftime struggling, and us as the viewers, and the fans watching saying, okay, now let's see what the adjustments they're going to make, and then coming into the second half and feeling like they're doing the same things they did in the first half.
Yeah.
What is the adjustment? What are the adjustments? These guys are showing, 8 guys on the line of scrimmage. They were showing 8 guys on the line of scrimmage in the first half and saying, move the ball on us. And they're doing the same thing in the second half, and you're running the same plays that didn't work in the first half.
Right.
I think that's one of the most noticeable drawbacks from the previous offensive coaching staff.
Have you seen situations where your assistant coaches, your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator can push the head coach to be a little bit more aggressive? I think a lot of times the thing that we saw from Flus was, and from the team as a whole, was in the second half of games, they would take their foot off the gas. They would be like, well, we got 28 points. All right, boys, we're good. Do you think that Shane Waldron coming in, because he was hey, we letting it fly. That ball's going to be in the air. He was a very aggressive OC to me. Do you think that he can change some of the mindset of the head coach that we have here?
You can only, it's not necessarily you can change the mindset. He can call those plays, and it ain't going to matter if you can't protect the quarterback.
Right.
If you want to do those things, you want to have a high performance, high octane type of offense, you got to be able to have to protect your quarterback. So, before we go and get all the premier skill players, you better get the premier guys that can protect.
Yeah.
Get guys, and then I'll start handing you this high octane, get after it right now offense.
It's so interesting because I think it was Louis Riddick. He was on with Waddle and Sylvie this week, and he was speaking from the other side. He was like, "Go get receivers because when you get receivers, all of a sudden you can get the ball out quicker." And I'm just like, I see that more in today's NFL where teams say we're gonna load up on receivers. Yeah, our quarterback might get hit a little bit more, but you're getting the ball out quicker. But then I'm like, I love that Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl with no tackles, but he lost the Super Bowl because he wasn't protected on that last play versus Aaron Donald. He couldn't get the pass out.
Everybody has their own philosophy.
Yeah.
You can go get you can load up on receivers and have what they call the best offense. Okay. Which probably Miami. Okay. But the problem with Miami is, and I've said this all year, they struggle against good defenses.
Yeah.
And get the ball out quick. They try to. But defenses understand that. When you understand what they're doing, what can you do? What is it that you can do? Because offenses can only do what defenses allow. And when you decide you're not going to allow it, they're ineffective.
Yeah.
They score 14, 17 points against good defenses. So go get all the best receivers you want. It ain't going to matter if your defense is ready and prepared for you.
You're not playing off of them like we saw a lot this season. You know what they're gonna be. You gonna beat it.
No, because anybody that plays on my defense, we're not impressed by that. We're not impressed. We're the only thing we're impressed with is the work we're about to put in.
Yeah, I love it. And it showed, right? Like you guys went up against literally, I'd say probably the top 5 wide receivers in NFL history in your era of football.
Yeah.
And it was never with double teaming, with triple teaming this guy. Like my favorite scene ever was, I forget, was it the Rams? I think they triple teamed Calvin Johnson at the line and had 3 DBs right on. And I was like, I don't ever remember us even having a safety over the top a ton.
No, we knew where we had to cheat. We would cheat toward, him, certain routes and things that we knew, but we understood what routes we're going to be attacked with. You know, that's exactly what the good defenses are going to do. They're going to have a good game plan. They're going to have a good game plan, and they're going to take away what you do best. So now, what can you do after that? And Miami struggles when they get stopped on the things that they do best. Yeah, they don't adjust well. To me, it's also that's another one of those young coaching deals right now where Daniels has to grow. And you see him. They'll blow teams out of the water. They'll do all this because they're playing against undisciplined defenses, okay, who gives them a lot of space. Their coaches are probably scared, not aggressive, and all that good stuff. And then they play against the good defenses. I remember the first one they played against was Philly. Yeah. That Philly defense, and they scored, I think, 17 points, 14, 17 points against them, all right? Because they ain't afraid. They're not afraid of them. They're not afraid of them. And they know what they're going to do. And they took that away. Once you take that away, now what do you have? Your coaches are – the good defensive coaches are going to take away what you do best, and then they're going to say, how are you going to adjust to this? And he struggles with adjusting. Some of these young coaches struggle. Matt Nagy struggled with adjusting. Luke Getsy struggled with adjusting, once they shut down what they're doing. Yeah. Oh, and so it's that's my biggest concern for Shane Waldron, and it would be anybody, how are you going to adjust when the defense takes away what you do best? Yeah.
He's a very air it out kind of coach. He puts the ball in the air a lot. The pass to run ratio, I'd say, is probably 75-25 for Shane Waldron. How do you think that style of football plays here in Soldier Field? Because it doesn't seem like this new stadium is getting here any quicker.
Well, I think he's going to play to his strengths. I think he's going to play to his strengths. He's going to figure out what he has. In Seattle, you have DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett. Yeah. And I forget the tight end they have, but they also have a tight end who they can air it out to. And they had a lot of running back injuries, running back injuries, I think, over the last couple of years that kind of set them back. But, I know they have Charbonnet over there and a couple. But, I think you play to your strengths. You play to your strengths and you play to what the defense is giving you, and I hope that that's who he is. because there's going to be times whether you're 75-25 or 75-35, whatever it is, I hope it's because that's what is being given. That's what the defense is giving. So that's what we're taking.
I just hope situationally he's aware of it, right? Like I never minded. I think a lot of people hated the fact that Matt Nagy threw the football so much, and I didn't hate the fact that he threw the football that much. I hated the fact that he didn't know when to run. Right, we'd be on a 3rd and 1, and he's dropping back trying to have Mitch pass the football, and it's like just like we got David Montgomery back there, just run him up the middle and punch people in the mouth.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna find out. Well, so one of the things about these offensive guys, that think they're geniuses, is they work on these theoreticals, and theoretically it should have worked, instead of living in the we're in this real world, man. Listen, real world says it was 3rd and 1, just run the damn ball.
we called those back in my construction days, those were the engineers. The engineers will send you out blueprints, and they'll be like, "Hey, you got to see what you're gonna do. You're gonna put 300 feet of pipe right here. It's gonna be perfect, and then this is how it's gonna work. And let me know when you're done." And you get out there, and you be like, "Well, there's a silo right here. We gonna run through the silo? Is it going inside the building?" They'd be like, "Well, theoretically, it should all work. I put it on my computer."
Right. Right.
That's how the offensive guys are for you, huh? They don't live in reality all the time. You say
sometimes, some of the guys they're on that theoretical stuff, and this should work, that should work, But listen, this is what the defense is presenting. This is what they're presenting. This is how they play. They play aggressive, soft. These are the players. This is the player we're going to take advantage of. And this is how we're going to do it. Yeah, I did love watching over in the playoffs. A lot of these systems and what they're doing. To try to win the numbers game. And a lot of it is based off of Kyle Shanahan and his tree. The Kyle Shanahan tree really is probably his dad's tree. Really,
we do just kind of give it to Kyle all of a sudden.
Kyle, but really, there's Gruden, there's guys that these guys were under, and I really want to say it's Shanahan, and but the Pop Shanahan, when,
Mike,
Mike. When I was watching, when he was in San Fran and we moved to Denver and all that stuff, just kind of, but there's a lot of similarities in how they're handling and how they're running things. I really like their run games. They're trying to take those inside second level linebacker guys and get their eyes wrong so that they can get numbers moving in there. And they're running bunch schemes, motion in a wide receiver, and then running counter right out of it. To get you drawn away from what you're supposed to be. But if you lock in, honestly, if players just lock in and to their key, they'll be fine. They'll shut plays down. You can shut those plays down fast, and they'll move away from it. But it's fun to watch because the offense are very efficient in it, and they move really fast. So if your alignment is off by a step, if your key is off, your eyes are wrong, you're gonna get gashed.
Yeah,
you're gonna get gashed, and they're counting on that.
And they've been letting some holding go in this playoffs. I ain't gonna lie to you. They was sitting there praising Ragnow all yesterday from Detroit. It was like, oh, he's hurt and he's fighting through. And look at that. That's Vita Vea on the other side. I was like, well, he's holding on to his waist the entire time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of holding going on in this game.
Yeah.
But like Yurko says you can call holding on every play in the NFL, like if you really wanted to.
True.
I want to ask you about the defensive side, Lance, because I know that there's a name that the Bears interviewed that one, very well, and two, I'm actually very excited to see if we could get him in here. And I think the Bears are just looking in the right places. Chris Harris has interviewed for the Chicago Bears defensive coordinator spot. A teammate of yours, somebody who you went to a Super Bowl with. What are your thoughts on Chris Harris possibly being the next DC of the Chicago Bears, and what would he bring?
Well, Chris is outstanding. He was always a student of the game. When he played. Had some very fun years with him, and he went over to Carolina
after Chicago
and annihilated us, in Carolina, and then came back and we played again together. But Chris is real smart, man. And we would, when Trestman was here and he was on that staff, we'd lock ourselves in that study room and we'd go at it, and I'm, why can't we run it like this? Because this is why, Lance, and he's a teacher.
Yeah.
And even though we played together and he was now my coach, he was breaking down the inner details of why something has to be done defensively, and as much as I pushed back, with him, I understood, and it got to the point where he would say, "You do understand what I'm saying," what I mean? And I'm like, I do. And that, to me, that's important. That's a really important part of any player that's going to play for a coach. If you can explain the why, you can always explain the why. A player can respect that. I can appreciate that. I can respect that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it because I don't like what I have to do, but I understand why I have to do that for us to be successful.
Do you think that he would make this, because I think you guys 06 defense was so much more aggressive than a lot of the time where it was, not to say it wasn't aggressive, but it was more of a passive style. Lovey was a little bit more passive when he called plays. Do you think that he would bring that kind of aggressive style to this team? Because I think me and you have both talked about on here, right? Like, that's kind of what it seemed like the Bears were missing this season at times. They would allow teams to get those big chunk yardages, where I think that that's the main thing we need to take away.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Chris he's a smart guy. He's been in a lot of systems. He's been in systems with us where we challenged a lot of the receivers at the line of scrimmage. We challenged, and we were good in our technique. So the one thing where they'll continue to be sound, and you got to remember, Chris played for Hoke, Hoke, and so there's familiarity there as well. We all, those guys they all really funnel from a similar tree as well. So there's a lot of similarities in those guys. Chris is young and Chris knows what he's doing. So I'm, the defense will be in good hands with C. Harris. That I do know.
And I feel like I'd feel a lot more comfortable knowing that he's coming in. Yes, maybe he's learning to be a defensive play caller, but you still got Flus there, right? You've got somebody who's called this defense well, who's started to build this defense up. And so those questions that may come up, he'd have somebody who's very experienced in the room with him.
Don't worry, Chris, trust me when I say this. Chris knows what to run, how he wants to run it, and
don't even need him.
Yep, he knows. And he's going to have a feel for this game. He's going to have a feel for the game.
Yeah.
This is working. This is what's not working. When you have as a defensive coordinator, all you need to know is really a repeat of what you're seeing. Hey, this is what's happening up front. This is what's happening in the backfield. This is how they're attacking us. All right, well, this is what we need to do. These are the calls we need to go to then, and this is how we're going to fix that.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's just watching it, I bet he already knows what he wants to do. Now, just hearing from the other coaches will confirm, and that will get echoed through the defensive coaches.
If Chris calls Lance Briggs to be a linebackers coach, you going?
Probably not. I mean, listen, we have a good, me and Chris good relationship, man. And I respect it. He's not gonna call me. He's not gonna call me. He has my full support. And I'm sure he'll have some full support of all the rest of the Bears fans.
little cold out here in those early months of the season. Last, you're not coming back.
Well, you can't. I mean, look. Let's be honest with ourselves. To just straight up say no and hey, I want you to come coach linebackers in the NFL.
Yeah.
There is a dollar sign that's up there that hangs over the head, and and I just after retiring, like I want to do things. I want to continue to do things because I love to do it.
Yeah.
I want to do things and I love to do it. And I love football. I love being a part of football. But, what's more important than just some dollar sign or just some cash, man, is I get to coach and see and watch my kids, my nieces, my nephews.
Yeah.
And it's priceless.
No, hey, listen, I love that. That's the best part about now being a new father. I mean, been here 2 years now. I guess I'm not new, but like now she's becoming a it sounds bad to say, but like you watch them become a person. Like that mess
Yeah.
is crazy. As a parent, like you watch them. And my daughter hit me. She was like, "Daddy, that's enough. I don't want to do this anymore." I was like, "Oh, excuse me, my bad."
Right. You know, and the I guess one of the most awesome things, man, is my kids almost on a daily basis. They want to go out. They want to play catch. They want to work on their craft.
Yeah.
Dad, can we, like I've got to peel myself out sometimes, like peel myself out. All right, let's go. All right, come on. We're going to the bat cage.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade that for anything. So that's the problem with, Chris saying,
Yeah.
hey, and he wouldn't do that because he knows that, listen, when we were I was 2013, 2014, he knew, he was like, listen, I'm coaching. I'm going to coach football. Like as soon as I'm done, I'm coaching football. That's what I want to do, Briggs. That's what and I love coaching. I enjoy coaching these kids.
Hey, I love it. I absolutely love it. You do them like Dion. Tell them, nah, I ain't coming. I ain't coming for that. I'm gonna be with the kids. Let me ask you this, because I think what's interesting about Chris coming here, you said he's gonna have a feel for the game. He's not gonna need, somebody watching over his shoulders and different things like that. What would you say is the biggest difference in having somebody who played the game at the same level as you as a coordinator or a coach versus somebody who maybe played college, maybe, right? Like just lifelong in football, but didn't make it to that NFL level and have a career in the NFL?
Well, like I said, the first thing that pops in my mind is a feel for the game, it's just a feel for the game, but that can be developed over years of field study, test field study and all that stuff, but for Chris, he knows what's worked, what hasn't worked, literally on the field physically, and as a safety who was never one of the fastest safeties on the field. He was a guy that had to understand splits. He had to understand, down and distance and what these guys run out of this personnel. So to make sure that he could put himself in position to make the play, So I think for a guy that had to do extra work from the mental game, so that fast as the guys that are 4.4, 4.3, and those guys, I think it really benefits the guys that are even faster, especially now. The guys are even faster now, to even put them even closer to the ball to make plays. If you're being taught fundamentally how to play as fast as some of the slower guys, but you're faster, that to me makes you an even better player.
I love Urlacher said it earlier in the year. He was like, "Don't give me the dude that can run 4.4 but has to think. Give me the guy that already knows where he's supposed to be and can run a 4.5, but he can play at 4.4."
Yeah,
like that's to me, that's what Jack Sanborn is. Those are the guys. Why do you think that is? Because you were so good. I'm sure there's things that you saw just naturally that other people just can't see. And it's hard for you to like teach them that because you just naturally were gifted to be able to see it. Why do you think, like, I always think about like Magic Johnson as a coach, and he's like, how do you not see that pass? Like, it's between two dudes right there. You just got to throw that. And he's like, Coach, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the thing about it is a lot of people get hung up on these youngsters, that run around high school. Oh man, this time.
Yeah.
They'll ask me, I said, shoot, man, I ran a 4.7. I said, I ran a 4.7. I said, and I said, but if you turn on the tape, if you ever turned on the tape of me in college, you would never thought that I ran a 4.7, because I was all over the place and I was chasing guys down. You know, I was like, and when I got to the Bears, or when Lovey got to the Bears, he saw that I had a 4.7. He was trying to replace me. He was like, no, he's not fast enough. You know what I mean? You're not Derek Brooks fast enough. Yeah, but it wasn't until I played football that he, you know what I mean? Because if Lovey would have turned the tape on of me playing in Arizona, you know, he would have said, whoa, this guy he's faster than 4.7.
Yeah.
He was told what my time was and was like, nah, that's not Derek Brooks fast, you know. But when you turn on, when he got on that field and he was watching and I was making plays, play after play, it changed his mind.
Yeah.
It changed his mind, you know. So it's one of those deals, man. You know, if you're football fast, you can play, just play, you know what I mean? And it because of the world we live in, it's probably going to hurt you. It's probably going to hurt you a little bit, but all you really need is an opportunity.
Yeah.
End of the day, all you really need is an opportunity, and guys that know that have a feel for the game, that understand it. You want to trigger fast. You want to play this game fast, and I've always played the game fast, you know, and make my adjustments on the run, you know, and those guys tend to last the longest.
It's you know, I'd rather see you take your time but make the right move than make a quick mistake.
No. But when you know, go.
When you know, go. That's what it all comes down to. Hey, we saw a lot of guys doing the when you know go this weekend, man. I mean, we saw some really good back and forth football games. I want to start with the game that most Bears fans are so excited about. 49ers taking out the Packers. How were you on that last pick there, Lance? Was there a little yeah, there it is. It's another Aaron Rodgers in there, boys. Can't get over San Francisco.
Yeah. I was certainly happy that the Packers lost. All right. They made a heck of a game of it. And there were some scares. There were a lot of lead changes over the weekend in all the games, and that makes football. But I was confident that 49ers would pull it out, you know, and in what better fashion than a linebacker Greenlaw getting another pick, you know, and then in even greater linebacker fashion, because he told his boy, he said, hey, we said that if we get it, we got to get 6, and tried to score while his whole team is telling him get down, you know.
He was running back. I was like, get down.
I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. All right.
It was so crazy to see that style of interception. I mean, Love rolling right, crossbody throw back to the middle, every single quarterback sin that you could have done on one play. And all I could think of was when Brett Favre did it, and it was, this is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. And it's just like every sin you could have made there on one play. And I'm not gonna lie. Let me ask you this, Lance. Jordan Love got you a little worried they got another one?
No, I'm not worried. Listen, I can appreciate good football. I can appreciate good players. You know, Green Bay they have a long history of picking well.
Yeah.
Job of it, you know. And for us, all that is that's a challenge. You know what I mean? Like step to the challenge. Like, it doesn't matter how good Jordan Love is. If you play better each week, you only need, you know what I mean? If you play better, then he's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. It should not matter.
Yeah.
The Bears have to do what the Bears have to do. You know?
That's the biggest thing. I feel like we as fans, we focus so much on the Packers, and a lot of times I have to like remind myself, yes, it sucks to lose to them. They're 2 games a year.
Yeah.
If we win the other 14,
yeah,
or 15 now, right? If we win the other 15 games,
listen, the Bears are gonna win that game next year. They're gonna win that game. They're gonna get over that damn hump. You know, they're gonna play, and I want them to play against a very good, outstanding Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Just outplay the kid.
You wanted Rodgers to stick around, right? You wanted the Bears to actually be able to get over the hump with Rodgers there, didn't you say that?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to do when you change head coaches after a 10-6.
Well, we're not doing it this year.
I know what you're hoping for, but not going to happen now at this point.
It's not happening this year. What'd you see in that Lions Buccaneers game that really stood out to you? I thought that was another good one. And as much as I can't stand Detroit, listen, they're such a good football team. I can't stand Detroit, but I
Really?
absolutely love Dan Campbell. It's just like it don't matter. Fourth down, Dan, it's 4th and 5. Go for it.
Listen, I grew up on the 49ers.
Yeah.
All right. Grew up, they were my favorite team, and my youngest son asked me the other day, what's your second favorite team? I don't have one, son. I don't have one. If you're ever lucky enough to play in the NFL, that would be my second favorite team. Whatever team that, but I don't have a second favorite team. However, I certainly have rooted for the Niners, but I am rooting for the Detroit Lions. It's been their history. I was sitting next to a Detroit fan, and watching the game, the wild card win, and you know how long it's been. I'm telling you, man, when they won, this guy started crying, like he was in tears, and it's just been a long time. But it's been a long time for them. So they're a team that I'm rooting for.
I can't bring myself to root for Detroit. I got standing beef with all things Detroit, but it's a really good football team, and I can acknowledge seeing good football, and I can acknowledge seeing a coach go out there and no 4th and 14, 4th and 5, 4th and 3, 4th and 1, 2 minutes left in the game, 30 seconds left in the game. The first play of the game, he's going for it on 4th down. Like Dan Campbell he is the epitome of one day this is gonna bite you in the butt, but not today.
But you know what? He's got the right fan base for what he's doing, and good call, bad call. We're all in. We're all in. We're gonna fall in now. And the thing about, like, as much as you love Dan Campbell makes those calls in Chicago. Like, people are already like, "What are you doing?" It makes it. Oh, he's so lucky. But this is gonna cost you. It's every one of those calls, and then he's gonna get asked about it, and then for a whole week, like, Chicago media is just gonna burn you on those.
No,
questions.
you know what it is? I think the reason I like Dan Campbell doing it over when Flus would do it is because there's consistency with Dan Campbell. No matter where you at, 4th and whatever we're going for it. There's a consistency there. With Flus, it'd be like we was on the 40 and it was a 4th and 3, and he's like, we going for it. And then we get to the 20 and it's a 4th and 1, and he's like, let's kick the field goal. I'm like, what happened? Are we going for it? What happened to the aggressive guy down there? Like, we just did it. So, like, I love the consistency of Dan Campbell just saying, I'm living with it, win, lose, or draw. And if it's wrong, we got to call a better play. It's not that we got the decision wrong.
Fair enough.
I don't know. That's just me. My Super Bowl pick here, Lance, dominated this weekend too. I got the Ravens going all the way, bro. I think they win in this thing all the way. I love the defense. I love what Roquan's being able to do over there. Offensively, somebody that was wise up there was like, if we give Lamar some wide receivers and an offensive line, he might actually be a pretty good quarterback. And it seems like in the first year it's working out. You think Ravens got a Super Bowl shot here?
Absolutely. I really like their chances in the Super Bowl. I like their chances in the Super Bowl. I like the chances getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But if they play the Detroit Lions, I have the Lions beating them.
You got the Lions. First off, the Lions are getting to the Super Bowl. You got Lions over 49ers here.
I have the Lions over the 49ers. This is one of those fair seasons, where they find a way.
There's just like, as they walk into the stadium, there's just "There Goes My Hero" playing in the background.
It's
slow motion walk in.
Man, it's in the rafters. It's the history. It's saying 30 years. It's been so long. The Lions have never won a Super Bowl, and so it's one of those deals where it's it's the state of Michigan is going to go crazy.
I think this is going to be what's the saying? It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. As I think this is gonna be one of those seasons for the Lions where you're moving in the right direction. You made it a long way, but you're gonna fall short. I got 49ers probably going over the Lions, and then I got the Chiefs taking the L, even though heck of a game. But can we stop going to Taylor Swift after every single touchdown?
Well, the good thing about the Taylor Swift videos is that Jason Kelsey was up there, and he stole the show, and it was awesome. You know what I mean? Jumping to the stands. Like
I love Kels.
His whole activity, man, made it all worth it. So
he is a joy to watch. I hate that. I mean, I believe he's done. The retirement papers are in and filed. He said he's done. And I hate that that's kind of how it ended, but I love just who he is as a person, because with Taylor Swift in the booth, he stole the show. Like, how do you do that? Like,
hold on. What do you hate about how it ended? Tell me what you hate about how it ended. This is
that he didn't get a.
My son was real sympathetic for Jason Kelsey.
I just wanted them to have. I thought the Eagles did a lot of stuff to shoot themselves in the foot at the end, and I wanted him to have one more shot at trying to get to the Super Bowl.
Listen, there's nothing to be sad about.
Yeah.
His career is to be celebrated. That man won a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Won a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Dan Marino, as great as he was, never won a Super Bowl. There are a lot of players that have never won a Super Bowl. So his career is to be celebrated. You know what I mean? Like, and for all these guys, these retired guys, but he's achieved what all of us have tried to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that every year we go out, we try to win that doggone ring. He's you know, so there's nothing to be sad about. You know, it's sad when you have to walk away and you're like, there's no chance of us getting to the Super Bowl this year. I'm gonna retire.
That's how it ended, Lance. That felt a little personal right there. Is that how it ended? That way you Lance?
Hey, all I'm saying, listen. You know, I was a little older. I was a little bit older in my football career, and I was like, all right, listen. I think we're still humming right now. Like, we're humming, and we have a chance. We can get this in. No, new coaches, new coach staff. Yeah, time to retire. Yeah, that's how that works.
You said you had, yeah. What Magic Johnson say? I ain't gonna be there. Oh man, the one thing that I do love about it though is there will probably be a Kelsey competing to get to the Super Bowl. I thought that Chiefs and Bills game. Listen, coming down to the kicker, dog. Coming down to the kicker. That's a gut punch way to go out in this game. I thought Josh Allen played well, but I thought there was some plays that got left on the table in that game, and you can't leave plays on the table versus the Chiefs.
Hey, listen, things happen. I saw some outstanding plays too. Like, it's a playoff. It's a playoff. You know that they were playing their hearts out. That
Oh yeah,
all of them, and how much it meant. Like, these two teams facing each other again in this game, in Buffalo. Great game. I thought the Bills would win it, but it's one of those deals now where it's Josh Allen. Like, what's your legacy? What's your legacy going to be, and how's it going to end? Like, there's a window for how often you're going to get to go to these things right here. There's very rare that people get that long-standing New England run that they had of championship games versus Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And these young teams and young players and young squads, they're coming. They're coming. Shoot, these Bears are coming. They're coming now.
The one thing that I love about this Chiefs team is we're seeing a full evolution of this team, because it's very much like you said, right? How long are you going to have the offenses that are going to be able to go out there and dominate, play in and play out? How often are you going to have this prime Super Bowl, what seems to me to be a Super Bowl level defense? I feel like we've seen this Chiefs team lose so many pieces year after year on the offensive side. And now all of a sudden it's the defense's turn, and the defense has absolutely turned up. They've quietly been one of the best defenses in the NFL. And the only reason we don't talk about it is because everybody goes, "What's wrong with Pat Mahomes?" Like, well, he ain't got to score but 21 points.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's awesome. I mean, you have to think about that. Like that's such a genius way of continuity.
Yeah.
And then and for Patrick Mahomes, who's going to be, their quarterback for the next 10, 15 years, there'll be another wave of offense.
Oh yeah.
Where the offense is going to have to put up X amount of numbers, but they can because they have to. And then there's going to be another wave, whereas the defense, and probably after that wave of the next defense, probably going to be Pat's his swan song.
Yeah. We all remember that last Peyton championship where it was just like
that's when a noodle arm develops.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, we all remember that last Peyton Manning championship when we were just like, "What you doing out there? What's going on?"
Omaha.
Hand the football off, Peyton. Don't hurt yourself, please. That's all we hoping for. That's funny. The Omaha got me. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I look at this though, I've got a Ravens Super Bowl win. You've got a Lions Super Bowl win. I'm sure there's many Bears fans that hear that and be like, "Oh, Lance is cheering for Detroit." Go away. And then there's gonna be a lot of fans of the Lions who are excited to hear that because this is a opportunity to me to be a special season on both sides. Of course, Detroit winning. But I look at the Ravens possibly winning. Can Lamar Jackson dispel the room or the stigma that a dual threat type of quarterback can win Super Bowls?
Oh, of course they can. Of course they can. But it's. I mean, I love what the Ravens. I think the Ravens they're certainly primed. Their defense is humming. It's all around there. I just like their team all around. And they certainly I think are the favorites. I really like. I think they match up extremely well with Kansas City.
Yeah.
But I'm just going for the Cinderella right now. Cinderella. Sorry.
Can't go wrong with a good Cinderella story. Let me ask you this: when you see the
Ravens have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Have won a Super Bowl. Ryan's run many Super Bowls. Kansas City has run numerous Super Bowls. Okay. It's to me, there's one team there that's sitting there that hasn't tasted that victory yet. So take what you meant.
Hey, look, I'm not mad at it. You can't go wrong with a good Cinderella story, right? Like sometimes you gotta root for the Cinderella. It's Detroit. It's personal for me. Yeah, man.
Pat, we're the next Cinderella. We're the next Cinderella.
Hey, listen. The problem is the pumpkin showing up a little bit too early. It feel like sometimes.
But you got. Hey, listen. As long as you keep
we
one
were supposed to have till midnight, Lance.
You got one glass slipper. All right, and the destiny will find you.
Hey, we were supposed to have till midnight. The pumpkin showed up at 10:30. What's going on here? Let's finish it off with this. Let me ask you this. I've heard a lot of over the last few years, right? A lot of pundits say the moniker that defense wins championships is done now. And then I watch the playoffs and I watch all of these defenses. Does defense still mean more than offense when it comes to playoff time?
Anybody who says that defense doesn't win championships is a fool. Is a fool. The problem with offense is it's not consistent. You can do something well for a year. You can do something really well for a year, but into that next year, once defenses have figured you out. And most of nowadays it's always a trend because it's a copycat league. So
yeah,
a lot of offenses that are successful, they're doing something new. They're doing something new or a little bit different and finding success. Remember when the Wildcat got installed and it was, I think it was Miami that started it and they were having a lot of success. And then, Cam Newton and all these other teams are doing it. And it only took a little bit out of the year. All right, this is how we're going to stop this.
Yeah.
RG3, all them, and so defense again. there's you and I love the creativity of some of these OCs, and how they're trying to distract your keys and get guys out of place, with their offensive schemes and how they run it. It's cool. It's cool to see. But once you've seen it, we got, okay, this is how we're going to play it.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to play it. All right.
So you saying the tush push ain't going to be effective next year. It's not going to be as effective next year.
They're going to that's going to retire with Jason Kelsey.
Hey, listen, I did. The first thing I thought was, hey, how Jalen Hurts going to run that tush push without Jason Kelsey in the front?
Well, they have to take it out because, you can't do that on the defensive side on field goals. On field goals, that's what you would push.
Yeah.
Push, and you can't do that anymore. They ruled it out. So you can't. They're not going to allow it to happen on the offensive side.
So you think it's gone completely? You think it's going to be out of the league after this season?
Roger Goodell hates it.
Yeah.
He's the president. They're going to fight for it, and that's going to be one of the things that are going to be removed next year. Because if they don't remove it, then they have to include other things that they've taken out from the defensive side.
So that's okay, because I have been wondering this, why no DC has been like, well, let's just look at what they do in rugby and do that on the defensive side, because it's a rugby scrum in the middle to push. We can just push back in a similar fashion, but it's actually the rules that are in place that doesn't allow the defense to go against it.
Correct. Yeah, it's a smart play.
Yeah.
Play based off that situation.
Got to use it to your advantage, especially going in knowing that the defense can't do anything that legally can stop it. That's interesting. Hey, it's going to be fun. We're going to see how this season finishes out. Of course, we're going to be here the rest of the way for the Chicago Bears podcast. New OC. Maybe we're talking about a new DC this time next week, Lance. Maybe Chris Harris is hired here. We get I'm still excited by the possibility of maybe a Chico Rivera returning. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
We will see.
Whatever it ends up being.
The right one.
Hey, that's the biggest thing. Get the right one. That's all we care about. Yep. Get the right one. Hey, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Bear down, everybody. Peace.